Hey, still the Nation Midwest. Hey, I'm coming at you today. We got a pretty good lineup. I even got to introduce my new sidekick. I'm going to do that in a minute here. But we're going to talk about the AFC NFC Championship games coming up on Sunday. They should be some good ones. The Chiefs are back in it. I thought I'd give my sidekick some love.
Oh, that's gorgeous. Gorgeous.
He's a big Chiefs fan. And then we're going to do some mock draft stuff too. So we're going to get through that. But first, I want to introduce Ryan Heffley, former head coach at a University Academy, now assistant at a bigger program, Baser Linway over in the Kansas side. He's moved to the defensive side of the ball, but I call him the guru of the offensive line. That's his name. So if we have anything to do with the offensive line, I'm always going to reach to him because he's played the offensive line and he understands what the guys should be doing or what they were trying to do. So, and he has a lot of, I think me and him will be able to get this together because we got a lot of knowledge we can bounce off of each other. We're going to have fun with this. So
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah.
What's up, Ryan? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, coach. I tell you what, a good weekend, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
as bad as the weekend was before that, I mean, we only had one good game out of six, I felt like last weekend was really good. I mean,
Yeah.
all those games kind of came down to it and yeah, I mean, we're going to kind of dive into each one, but there's some really good football being played right now.
Yeah. I mean, that Final Four is a pretty good one. I guess Washington shocked everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I did not see them. I'll be honest, I didn't see them beating Tampa Bay.
Mm-mm. No,
They
no,
did
yeah,
that.
I got to eat some crow on that because
Yeah,
we talked about it and I said rookie quarterbacks don't win the playoffs and
I didn't
Jaden
think he
Daniels
would.
has played. He's played really, really. I think he has played as good as anybody else that's left in the playoffs right now
He's
from the
different.
quarterback.
He's
Yeah,
different. He's
yeah,
different. And uh, not to belabor that point because we got other stuff to move on to. But I was listening to this one guy, and they said that they use it for Arch Manning down in Texas. They used it for some other quarterbacks. They used it for, and the reason they brought it up is because of Jaden Daniels,
yeah.
because they use it at LSU. It's some virtual.
The VR stuff. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, the
yeah,
VR
yeah,
stuff. And they're
yeah,
saying that that's like the secret thing right now. A lot of teams are not doing it. They still depend on but they said some of the quarterback coaches on these NFL franchises are adding that into
sure,
the,
sure.
because it speeds the quarterback up. He's able to, so when he gets in the game, it's slower
Yeah,
and shows them how to watch the clock. When they get them play clock situations where you're losing, not managing the clock well and things of that
sure,
nature,
sure.
it helps them with
Yeah,
that. So, I mean, I never heard of it. I mean, but I guess it makes sense. It makes sense.
yeah.
How long have they been?
I've seen it. I've seen it around for a few years, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
but as technology gets better, I'm sure it's improving. So it's not something I've looked at recently, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it can't hurt, and all the mental reps help quite a bit. And I mean, he feels comfortable with it, and I tell you what, man, he's playing good football right now. Like
Yeah.
their offense is rolling right now.
They introduced it to him at LSU, and then
Yeah,
Kingsbury uses it in DC. So
yeah,
I don't know if he continued to do it because maybe Jaden said something to him,
mm,
or he already was on board with that. I'm not sure, but it's working. So people were saying that's the secret weapon, and that maybe that somebody like Justin Fields um, should maybe look into using that if he's not using it. But
yeah.
enough of that. But the AFC game, Buffalo and Kansas City, is down here in Arrowhead. The Bills played them back when in October. Was it October?
Yeah, it was like late October, early November. I
Okay,
don't remember the specific date, but I feel like it was around week 10, 11, 12, something like that.
something like
So,
that. Did
yeah,
they? I'll let you talk about that game. I remember Bills won that
sure.
game, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
why don't
Yeah.
you?
No, and it was a good game. It was played in Buffalo, and I was actually just talking with some buddies about this earlier today. Is uh, people are forget it was a close game because the score was closer than a one score deficit. But remember, Allen had that iconic play on fourth down where he broke a few tackles and went and scored from about 25 yards and then iced
Mm-hmm.
it. And but in that game, like Josh Allen was really, really good. I feel like previous games with Buffalo, their running game has kind of hurt us quite a bit. That game really wasn't the case because even with that 20-yard run, they still only averaged about 3 yards a carry for 30
Mm-hmm.
carries. So I thought the run defense was pretty good. I think I read a stat today too. The Bills were 3rd and 8 plus 10 times in that game. So the Chiefs did a really good job of getting in 3rd and long. Just I think Josh Allen converted 5 or 6 of those because he's really, really good. I mean, in my opinion, I think he plays quarterback the second best of anybody in football right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, I'm biased because I'm a
Yeah,
Mahomes guy, but
you have a right to be.
he's doing real. I mean, if Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs don't exist, I think you could say he'd have 1 or 2 titles by now, and people would think a lot higher of him. But man, he's playing good football. Um, so yeah, no, I'm excited. It's going to be a fun game. I mean, Vegas calls it pretty much a pick 'em, so it's a coin flip, and weather's not going to really be a factor. It's going to be cold, but everywhere's cold right now, and
Mm-hmm.
really
Mm-hmm.
all 4 teams left play in the cold, so
Yes.
that's
Yes.
not really a thing. But my kind of thing I want to see is did are the Chiefs? Is this the game where they finally put the throttle down, or have they been trying to do it and they're just not quite as good from an
Mm-hmm.
offensive standpoint? I think their defense is excellent. I think their defense is peaking. They got some guys back, but from an offensive standpoint, have they been saving they quote good plays for an opponent like this because they know their B or B minus game beats about anybody else, or is this the year the Bills kind of break through? Because I do think the winner of this game, I'll call them a heavy favorite to be the champion because I think
Uh-huh.
both the AFC teams are playing better than the NFC teams.
So you're saying whoever wins in the AFC game is probably going to be the Super Bowl champion?
I think so. Yeah, yeah. I definitely take them both over Washington, but
Yeah, I
Philadelphia.
agree.
I like Philadelphia. I think we can talk about them here in a minute. They got a good roster, good team, and everything. I got some questions with, they're behind by 7, minute and a half to go. Is Jalen Hurts good enough to go score? Because I know the other 3 guys can do it because they've all done it already.
Yeah, they've already done it. Mm-hmm.
Is Hurts good enough? And maybe he is, but yeah, no, I'm really, really excited about the game Sunday night as a Chiefs fan, obviously, but it's just a football fan. It's 2 really good teams
Mm-hmm.
playing.
Yeah,
So
I can't wait. Uh, it's one of those situations like because I'm looking at the Chiefs, so everybody's been saying if you want to call it struggling, uh,
yeah,
uh, I mean, what is this? Their 7th division championship or 7th time in AFC championship?
yeah, 7 AFC championships in a row. Yeah,
Okay, in a row. So
yeah.
I mean, so they're doing something right. I
We
don't
we
care.
call it the Arrowhead Open in these parts. Like this, we took a break last year. We had to go to Baltimore, but 6 of the 7 have been in Arrowhead. So
Okay. So
yeah,
basically, I just think the Chiefs. I want to see how Josh plays at the beginning. I don't
mm,
think I think he's on a mission. I really do. I think he's on a mission because it's been eluding him so much. He's winning against the Chiefs during the regular season, and then in the postseason, it's like, it's like all for naught. And then last year, Baltimore, them in Baltimore and everybody. I thought Baltimore might go up to Buffalo this past weekend and win.
yeah, me
But
too.
Buffalo,
Well, they should have won, frankly.
yeah.
Baltimore was better. There's 2 bad turnovers, man, that changed the whole
Mm-hmm.
game.
Yep, it hurt them bad, and
Yeah,
they gave up early points. So I mean, then they had to, but they're explosive. They came back, but they just didn't finish it. Like you said, the
yeah,
turnovers that really
yeah.
hurt them. But Buffalo, I think it's going to be a good game. They do have to come down here, but right now, um, home field advantage means something. But when
Hmm.
it's the AFC or the NFC Championship game, players have been here before, like
Hmm.
Josh Allen and people they don't care about that, man. They
Yeah,
just want
yeah,
they're not worried about that. They ain't.
yeah.
I mean, I know they're probably getting ready for the crowd noise, but I don't know how. I never hear people talk about Buffalo's crowd like that.
Yeah,
Um,
I think they're good. I mean, I'm
mm,
not an expert on that. I mean,
yeah, me either.
obviously in these parts, I think we think Arrowhead's pretty legendary.
Right.
And I do think overall, like it seems like a very good home field advantage.
Yeah, it's hard to win there. It's hard to win.
And I think Buffalo's pretty good too, though. I think that's a pretty tough place to go in and win. But kind of to your point, you said, I think I saw over 50 guys playing in the game between the 2 teams have
Hmm.
played in the championship game before.
Yeah.
So, like, it's a lot. Like, I mean, I think that matters to your point. Like, I think
Hmm.
experience being there before, like, the lights aren't going to be too bright for the dudes that really matter in this game.
And even on the Kansas City side, I think like a guy like Worthy, because he's been playing with Kelsey and Mahomes all year and some veterans, I don't think he's going to fear it either.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
his mindset, he's been around the right people all season.
yeah.
So I mean, he's still got to go out and play. But I just don't think he'll struggle with that at all.
Well, let me
You know,
give you a kind of stat here. This kind of blew my mind today because Josh Allen, he has played Patrick Mahomes 8 times, and he's 4-4, so not a terrible record. He's actually beaten Mahomes more than anybody else.
mm-hmm.
In the regular season, he is 4-1. He is averaging 296 all-purpose yards. So that's passing and rushing. He has 13 touchdowns and 4 turnovers. Pretty good. I mean, I think
Real good,
those are good numbers.
excellent.
In the playoffs, he's 0-3, but they're averaging more points per game. He's averaging 50 more yards, and he has 9 touchdowns and no turnovers.
I
So
don't turn the ball over.
I'm not sure Josh Allen can play a whole lot better. I think it's kind of more going to be on, can Buffalo make the Chiefs kick field goals? If they can make him kick field goals,
Get
I
stops.
know Buffalo's going to go for it because they're hyper aggressive when they play the Chiefs,
Mm-hmm.
and which I think that's what you have to do to beat a really good team. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
wish the Chiefs would kind of be a little bit more aggressive at times, but I'm not sure Josh Allen can play a whole lot better. I think the dudes around him have to play better.
Yeah, I
So
mean, like the receivers, the backs, they have to bring the
yeah,
game.
yeah.
Isn't that one back? That back is that a back in his second year, or is he in his first year?
Which James Cook?
Yeah, what year is he in?
He's at least his second year. Because I
Yeah,
remember him on the team last year. He's a
okay,
good player. I mean, he's a good
yeah,
back.
yeah.
I
So
He's better than any back Kansas City has. And I know the Kansas City people, they love Pacheco, but I I'd take Cook in a heartbeat. It's not close because he's
I
really
wonder,
good.
I wonder if he turns the ball over. Does he put it on the? What does he put? Does he put it on the
Well,
grass?
both these teams are like the Chiefs haven't turned the ball over in 3 months, and Buffalo has not lost the turnover battle in 21 games.
Something got
So
to give then.
yeah, one of these two teams, like I obviously I don't want it to be the Chiefs, but like there's going to be a big turnover in this game that I think is going to kind of tilt it one way or another.
Yeah, I do.
So
I do, and I just think the Chiefs. I don't think, and just knowing they're seeing their like the way they carry themselves, I don't think they just think, oh, we got this in the bag. They got to come to
no,
us. They
no,
know better.
no. I
So
think they think that a lot of regular season games, but not this game,
no,
not
they know
Buffalo.
it's a single game elimination. Anything can
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
So I understand that, but um, I just think that it's going to be tough. It's going to be a great game for both players. To me, what is it? I think Vegas. I've read something. It's like maybe one. They're picked to lose by one. Buffalo is.
Well, it was -2 30 minutes ago because I just checked it
Wow.
because I know we were going to talk, and I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
just curious what it is. But
Uh,
yeah, yeah, man. I mean, anything within 2.5 to 3 either
hmm
side,
That's
man,
yeah. That's realistic.
it's a toss up. Like
It's
it's
a
a
toss
toss
up.
up.
Definitely, anything could happen. And then
So
they've played some overtime games too, more than one.
they've had a couple. Though obviously there's the one that they changed the rule of
Hmm
the 13-second game, and so there's that one. And I do believe you're correct. Off the top of my head, I don't remember, but I do believe there was one more overtime game.
hmm
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they just all kind of go to the wire and they
Yeah.
seem like they're overtime, but
Right.
neither team has really kind of beat the doors off of the other one
It's
in
always a
the
good
last.
game.
It is. No, it is. And kind of going back to like just Josh Allen, like he doesn't have the dudes that he had 2 or 3 years ago, and they're still at a high level. So that's why I kind of put him in that next. Because I mean, who's their number one wide receiver? Who's the guy that you go to? I mean, yeah.
I
I
know.
mean,
Yeah, that's
I
what I
think
was
this.
asking last time
Yeah,
during Wild Card Weekend. I was like, "Who's
yeah,
their guy?"
yeah.
Um,
Shakir's pretty good.
mhm.
And they've got a pair of tight ends that are pretty good. They went and got Amari Cooper, but I'll be honest with you, if they had to do that trade again, they wouldn't because they gave up, a decent draft pick for a
to
guy
get him.
who's just got a handful of catches. I mean, he's fine, but he's not the impact guy they thought they were going to get, I'm sure.
He's a free agent after this year too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that
So
was I mean, that's them, yeah, pushing their chips in a little bit.
yeah,
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
yeah. I think basically they're probably going to let him do what he needs to do after the season's over,
Sure, sure.
and somebody will pick him up. as
Yeah.
somebody, because he's Amari Cooper. Somebody will grab him,
Yeah.
but he's 31 years old too.
Yeah,
So
I tell you what, for wide receiver and running back, once you go over that 30 hill, you
mhm.
don't see a lot of success stories. It usually
No,
gets worse until they get hurt or they get out of the game.
they
So
just decide it's not worth it anymore.
yeah, I just think the margin of error between, beating a defensive back or making a cut, like you lose 5%. Well, that's enough to take you from a star in the NFL to just another guy that they can find off the streets that they can pay 15% of the cost. And yeah, they'll move on from you. So, I mean,
N-
that's,
Now the flip side of that, Heffley, though, is if Amari Cooper is in their game plan
yeah,
and they try to find him early just to get the offense, just to you know get
yeah.
Josh open. But like you said, he's had a handful of catches. I don't know. I don't know what's
Yeah,
going
I
on.
just pulled up
So
his stats here, and he was injured and kind of played through an injury. But
mm,
I mean, 20, he had, let's see, for the season, he's at 24 catches, 250 yards. I
is
mean,
that with Cleveland or is that just with Buffalo?
that's with Cleveland. So 44 catches for just a hair over 650 yards. I mean, yeah, like again, just a guy. Like
Yeah, he's
he's
just a guy.
dangerous, and he can still. I think like we saw 34-year-old Travis Kelsey kind of take over a game last week, so it's
Hmm.
still possible. But I'm also not putting Amari Cooper in Travis Kelsey territory. Like,
And I'm glad you brought that up because that was one of my next thing I was going to talk about. I watched them do
mhm,
it against Pittsburgh, and I watched them do it last week against Houston. Okay, and I'm thinking to myself, I know that Reed is a great designer of offensive schemes and routes and things of that nature with the route tree. I get it. He's like a master of it. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying?
mhm.
It's like he knows where to put you to get you open. But
Yeah.
whatever. And I know
Well, and
Kelsey being
his routes have lots of choices.
yes,
So
yeah.
yeah.
But that safety that was supposed to be uh, in the middle of the field taking care of Kelsey was
Mhm.
never around where he was supposed to be.
Nope.
And I'm
Nope.
thinking, you don't see this big 6'5" tight end coming down the seam on you, and you just gonna
Yeah.
leave him? And
Yeah.
he's not like he's a guy who comes off the bench every now and then, and maybe they throw to him, maybe they don't. We're talking about Travis Kelsey.
Yeah, it's a top three tight end in the history of the game, and wherever
Yes.
you want to put him in there, I don't care. But he's like, yeah. So,
Yeah. I mean,
um,
how's he get so open? You know what I'm
I,
saying? I'm like,
yeah, yeah. I think he's always pretty good at getting open. Where I think he's slipped and watching, I've watched a lot of Travis Kelsey in my life. He doesn't have that breakaway speed as you saw. Like I was yelling at my TV for him to unhook the plow as he's running because it's like, my goodness, you look like an O lineman running, bro. But yeah, I mean, he's still faster than I've ever been, but still,
right.
the Travis Kelsey from 4 years ago scores on that play. But
Yeah.
the difference I saw for the season this year, he had 3 broken tackles. That's all he did all year, and it was a lot
Mm-hmm.
of there was a lot of business decisions too. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I think he understands, is it really worth taking another knock to get 2, 3, 4 more yards? It's not. Like, it's not. And I think he kind of surprised them that, he had a little juice in the tank that they didn't think was there. I think the rest was big. I think all that kind of stuff was big. And I also think, like, Andy Reid's freaking good. He knows what you're doing. He knows what you're trying to do. And he's going to find ways to put his player in positions. And in Travis's case, I mean, they talk about it all the time. He freelances so much. Like, there's
Mm-hmm.
so many times he doesn't even run the right play. He just does his own thing, and
And
it
that could
just
be a problem
works.
for the defense. That's a problem for the defense
For sure, it is.
because if you're watching tape, you see him do one thing, but that don't mean he's going to do that same thing next time. He's going to probably
Yeah,
do something else. So you don't know what to
yeah,
guard. You don't know.
yeah,
You know where he's coming from. You might even know the play was coming, but you don't know what he's going to run. You know
yeah,
what his
yeah.
route's
Like
going to be.
I mean, you coach defense too. Like, you prepare your
Mm-hmm.
team to see certain things, and at the NFL level, it's more about getting them lined up correctly and what your assignment is, because you can't possibly show them everything. But
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs, every team has their things that they run, their things that they like to do, and when you think you see it coming, and oh crap, he's supposed to run a drag. What's he doing running a corner route the other way? Like
Right.
that kind of
Correct.
stuff. Yeah, like it throws off everything for sure.
Yeah. And then if
So
he does it, and if he got in your head about it, because now you're indecisive, he's getting wide open like he's been doing. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Because you're not
yeah,
sure where to be. You
yeah.
know.
I
Uh,
don't think we'll see too many 20+ yard catches with him, whatever his career looks like, whether it's one, two, another season. But I do think he's still super effective at understanding defenses, understanding where defenses are vulnerable, and finding spots. And he knows how Mahomes thinks too. And I think that's super important. Like they
mhm,
kind of think the same, and there's a little chemistry there that frankly, I think a lot of people overrate with especially younger receivers or younger quarterbacks. But those guys, I mean, they've played together, what, 7 years now, 8 years now?
mhm.
Like, it's there for sure.
And they've won.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
they got a good track record. So,
yeah,
I mean, what they do works. So
yeah,
obviously it works. So they're
yeah,
going to keep doing it until you can stop it. End of
yeah.
story. So
Yeah.
I think I think those are the two. Obviously, turnovers are big. Something got to give with
Mhm.
that. Somebody's going to give. The other thing too is um, that we were talking about as far as Amari Cooper. He doesn't. He's a guy, but never know. He can hurt you.
I would say we say that, and he'll go 6 for 130 and two
He's so
touchdowns. And
crazy.
next
Correct.
time we talk, I'll just be like, well, I'm stupid because, yeah,
But you just don't know. And
yeah.
then Kelsey does his thing. So um, Baltimore got a lot to. I mean, not Baltimore. Buffalo has a lot to deal with, and
Mm-hmm.
the Chiefs also got some things they need to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
As far as coming defensively, because if
Mm-hmm.
anything's going to get beat with the Chiefs, I think it's their secondary, and that's where
Yeah.
Spags comes in. But
Yeah.
I just think, and then Josh Allen kind of messes you up your game plan up because he'll take off running.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so what you gonna do with that? Some of it's designed, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not designed runs. And one thing I noticed about him, they were talking about it. Troy Aikman was talking, when they get to 3rd and 2 in the red zone, 2 yards out from the goal line, it's automatic sneak with him.
Yep. Yep.
That's all they run. They run the
Yeah.
same thing, their same play. It's like
Yeah.
they got it scripted. Like when we get to 2 yards out from the goal line, give it to Josh. You know
And
what I'm
and
saying?
actually, you know what? The both of those teams have been really, really good because I mean, if you follow Chiefs football, 3rd and 1 has kind of been our bugaboo for a while. Like we've really struggled in that short yardage. Well, I tell you, Kareem Hunt's been really good at that. Like he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have a lot of juice in the tank as far as he's not getting 12, 14-yard runs, but that dude does not get tackled for losses. He
No,
just doesn't.
he gets
Hi-
tough
hi-
yards.
if it's 1 yard, he'll get 1.2. If it's 2 yards,
Yep.
he'll get 2.1. Like he just kind of wiggles and finds a way. And yeah, but yeah, because we won't do we don't do quarterback sneaks, which
Mm-mm.
I am very much against. I think the quarterback sneak is actually a relatively safe play. I think Mahomes got hurt in a freak thing, and it's scared them away from ever doing it. But whatever. I guess Andy Reid knows more football than I do, so.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, to your point, like third down, third and short defense with the Bills, even if it's 3rd and 3, they run quarterback power with Josh Allen. Man, that's hard. Like he's Derrick Henry size. Like I don't think
Yeah.
people realize like that he's a hoss. Like he's a big dude. And with rules of the quarterback and stuff, like I think it kind of checks people a little bit. Like, well, I can't just go light him up. So
Mm-hmm.
he's tough. As well as he throws the ball, I think that added dimension really, really will make the difference in kind of this game as far as the mobile quarterback, both sides.
And then check it out. Then we're gonna move on real quick. I'm looking, I'm
Yeah, yeah,
watching, but as far as that's concerned, with him, Josh Allen, Mahomes, two
yeah,
great quarterbacks. I think it's gonna be a big time game.
yeah,
Um, I just think but I'm not picking it. I just want to sit back and watch it. If anything, I take the home team.
yeah,
Which is the Chiefs because they're playing at Arrowhead, and I know it's hard to beat them there. And I've been in that
yeah,
stadium for one game, so I know how loud it can get. And it's different. It's different. Pittsburgh gets loud, but Arrowhead gets loud.
yeah.
It's the way they designed the stadium, and it
The
works.
One more thing before we jump to the other game is
Mm-hmm.
a couple things I'm kind of keeping note. So the first game that they played, 7 different starters between the two teams didn't play. So it really like it's kind of a different game a little bit. And I'm talking like
Mm-hmm.
the number one tight end for the Bills, which the Chiefs are terrible at covering tight ends. Like just look at our history. We don't cover tight ends very well.
Mm-hmm.
Their number 3 receiver, Keon Coleman, didn't play. And then their starting inside linebacker, Matt Milano, didn't play. And
Did not play. Yeah.
he's actually questionable this week. He's just limited practice all week. So that's kind of one thing for the Chiefs. Charles Omenihu, who's probably our second best pass rusher, our number 2 corner, Jalen Watson, didn't play, and then Hollywood Brown and Isaiah Pacheco didn't play either. So like
Yep.
it's again that's a lot of variables that we're introducing into this game that did not play in the first game for sure. So
So it's going to
I
be a
mean,
different game.
it's
Yeah.
going to make it more exciting too, in my opinion, because I
Because
think
you want to
both
see, yeah.
sides. Because I didn't mention too the Bills were missing one of their starting offensive tackles too, and their offensive line is very very good. Like
Mm-hmm.
of the teams left, either them or I'd probably lean Eagles because I think really highly of theirs. But goodness, the Bills' offensive line is kind of a close second, especially running the football. They're really good at running the football.
That's why they run Josh.
Yeah, yeah.
He's running behind
Well, it
some
makes James
horses.
Cook really good too. So
Yeah, it does.
yeah,
It
yeah.
does. It does. Okay. So, real quick, who you picking? Home team?
I wrote down Chiefs 27-24.
Okay.
But it would not shock me at all if the Bills won. And I'll be honest, I'd be disappointed, but like they're a good team. Like they really are. I feel like they've been the second best team kind of the last 5 years. If you kind of lump those years together, they're playing really well right now. I think Josh Allen's probably had his best season. And it wouldn't shock me at all if they came in, played well, and were able to pull out a win.
Okay.
So,
Washington Commanders, man.
yeah.
Dan
Whew.
Quinn. Dan Quinn. I'm not shocked. I'm really not
He
shocked.
coached them all, man.
Yeah. He got a bad rap in Dallas, but everybody who understood football, they know it wasn't him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why he got the job in D.C. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they know it wasn't him. And, I mean, think about it, even in Atlanta. Wasn't he the D.C. in Atlanta?
Yeah, that's right.
And, what's his name? He's coach of the Niners now.
Oh,
Shanahan.
yeah.
Shanahan was the OC, right?
Yep.
When they lost to the Patriots, they were up 28-3 at halftime and ended up losing that game.
Yep.
And I'm like, whoa. And everybody blamed Quinn, but I'm like, nah, because dude should have been running the ball.
They got super conservative and stopped really kind of. I mean, yeah. No, there's a whole lot of blame to go around there for sure. So,
but he's a good coach, and I'm watching what he did. This year with the rookie quarterback. He made an excellent pick, an excellent selection.
Put a good OC with him too. Like,
yes, he did, Kingsbury.
Yep.
Even though he's like Sony PlayStation to me, but his stuff is working.
Yeah.
And he has a relationship with Jalen, doesn't he? That was with Caleb Williams, or was that with Caleb Williams?
It was with Caleb Williams. Yeah, it was with Caleb Williams. But
okay.
I mean, I think really highly of Cliff Kingsbury too. I don't know if he's a great head coach, but he can coordinate some offense. I mean,
it didn't work in Arizona for him when he was the head coach.
Well, Kyler Murray's why it didn't work, in my opinion. Like that was the wrong pick, but head coaches only get so much say, I think. So
yeah, when it comes down, especially when it comes to money.
Yeah,
so they can say what they want, but the GM going to do if the head coach is not strong in that building, the GM's going to run everything.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So
I agree.
That's how it works.
Watched it in Kansas City for a long time until they got Andy Reid.
Correct. So and it happens. But Jalen, the Commanders are playing. They're playing good, man. And then what? I did not realize. I knew Pittsburgh wanted to get McLaurin when they were looking for that other wide receiver back really early, late in the preseason, and McLaurin's name kept coming up, and I was like, "Oh man, he's good." But I didn't realize how fast he was until the other day when he caught that pass on the sideline and took it to the house, and there was no angles that were going to cut him off. The guy was like 4 to 5 yards behind him. The DB, he beat him that bad. That's a lot. People don't realize. It might look close on TV, but he was smoking that kid.
When you see an NFL player outrun an angle like that of another NFL player, he's fast because there are no slow DBs, wide receivers on the field. You can't play. So when they turn on jets like that and make you look foolish, because that's what he looked foolish. Like, that dude can scoot, or he took a horrible angle. I think it's more McLaurin can just flat run. Like he's a good receiver, and like kind of adding to that, man. Washington is like, I think that Brown, that other receiver they got, he's kind of come on. They've got two really good running backs, that
Mm-hmm.
Robinson and Eckler. Eckler's their backup running back. Like
Yeah.
Kansas City would take him in a heartbeat. Like
I
Austin
think people
Eckler's
forget that.
good,
I think people
and
forgot
and
about
then
that.
Ertz has had like drinking from the fountain of youth and playing better lately. Like yeah, man, they're good. They're a really really good offense. I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind they've uh, Detroit's defense, I think, finally took on too much water as far as injuries and stuff, and I think Detroit, man, they looked like they were so pressing and so like they got down and I felt like every play they were trying to score 14 points, like
Mm-hmm.
calling trick plays and just garbage, and it's just like just be you. You had 500 yards of offense. Like, stop doing this nonsense. Just run your
Yeah.
stuff and you'll win. And that's hey, it happens. I mean, it's first
Well,
time
they're
a team's
playing.
there.
Well, they're blaming golf. So, but
Yeah,
yeah, I don't think so.
I
I
think
just think,
golf. I think golf was fine. I think they had a bad day, and a bad days
yeah,
happen.
and it happened at the wrong time.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
your
happened.
defense can't replace. I think 6 or 8 of their starters were different from injuries. Like
Mm-hmm.
you just can't do that in the NFL. The drop off finally does come.
Correct. It does.
So
So, but they played tremendous, man. And then they go to they beat Tampa, then they go to Detroit. And I know everybody was shocked with Detroit because I was. But I'm watching the varsity and I'm saying the Commanders are balling. These dudes is
mhm,
balling out. I
mhm.
mean, pick six. I'm like, oh, wow. And the momentum just swung their way and they never gave it up. They were up, what, 20 points at half, 51,
Yeah,
21, the most
yeah.
points ever scored in an NFL game in the first half, in a playoff game in the first half.
Well, and
That's crazy.
I'm the moron who took under in that game, and it hit the over before halftime. So that was that was my view of the game. I thought they'd score a little bit. I knew the line,
Mhm.
but I just thought rookie quarterback. I kind of went back to that. But I tell you what, man, I'm not going to say it this week. Like
No.
I think Philly's defense is. I think they do very good job at rushing the passer. I think they're good at that. I'm not sure how good their back half of their defense is. Um, hostile crowd, hostile, but I mean, is Philly that much worse than Detroit? I think they're fairly comparable as far as home field
Mhm.
advantage.
Mhm.
So they've already kind of laughed at the storm, so to speak. So I don't think they're going to be intimidated going into Philly.
And they beat them once this year. They already
And
beat them once.
I was looking at those two games today because so many NFL games happen. It's hard to kind of sort them. Both of those games, the other team was leading going into the fourth quarter. Just kind of wild. And Washington won the
Mhm.
game at home that Philly was up by 13 going in the fourth quarter, and they scored 22 points in the fourth quarter and beat them. And then uh, Philly was leading that game, excuse me, and then Washington was leading the game at Philadelphia 12-6, and then Philly scored a few times in the fourth quarter to beat them. So kind of strange. You don't see,
Yeah.
teams leading into the fourth quarter that they win most of the time, and both of those games just kind of flip. So I don't know, man. I think it could be a good game. I really do.
Yeah. And
And
actually,
Jalen Hurts being
Quinn.
hurt, man. I don't know. Like I saw a
Well,
video of him trying to do a handoff today, and he did not look 100%. He didn't even look close.
is he
So
limited in practice? Is
he's
he?
well. I don't know what they've labeled him as. I'm just telling you the Ryan Heffley eye test. Watching him, like he looked laboring in that handoff. Now,
Mm,
few days away, and they've got things they can do to help people get through that. I get that, but um, I mean, I guess if I'm Philly, I would not feel comfortable if I'm down 10 points early and I need to start scoring because I think that's a recipe to get beat. I think they need to get ahead. I think they need to pound the rock. I think they need to lean on their offensive line, lean on their exceptional running back. We haven't even talked about Barkley. That I think Barkley's freaking good. Like I was wrong on him too. I didn't realize the Giants can sink careers that bad because man, he looks like a different dude there. And
yeah.
again, granted, his O line's good, but there's things he does as far as cutting in the hole that it's like, oh
Hmm.
man, like, and then he's got that little burst, like,
He's
gosh,
he's a he's a yesteryear back. He's like back.
yeah,
And
yeah, for
he's
sure.
one of those. He's back. He's one of those guys like back in the day when all the running backs ruled the offense. It was like
Uh huh.
um, Barry Sanders, Barry Foster. I mean Barry Foster for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Emmett.
Yeah.
all the great backs. I mean, that's Saquon Barkley. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But
Agreed.
he was in a bad organization in New York, man, and he stayed hurt. And I wonder if he was like, I'm not playing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
So but because he's doing this. I mean, he came into Philadelphia and he's just doing his thing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
He rushed for over 2,000 yards this year.
Yeah.
I don't know what he had all purpose wise. He can catch out the backfield. We know he can
Yeah.
take it to the house. He hits holes fast. He sees it. He has great vision. He's just a tremendous running back. And
Yeah.
if Philadelphia, I mean, if Washington does not control him early, that could be an issue. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
For sure.
I mean, because if he gets going, so now you got to play the run,
Yeah.
right? Because you can't just sit back and let Saquon just go off on you all night long. So basically, you're gonna have to play the run. But what happens now? Jalen's McLaurin
You
and
got
them
AJ
they're
Brown and
laughing.
Devontae Smith, two legit receivers out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking
Yeah.
about with Washington. I'm not talking about their offensively. I'm talking about the way Washington will play defense, though.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm
No, I'm
saying?
saying though, if you commit to the run like that, you're going to put
Mm-hmm.
receivers on islands that are more than capable of
Oh
beating you.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
That's the
Brown. Yeah,
point I
you're
was.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah. But Hurt got to get it there, like you said. Hurt's got to get it there,
yeah.
and
Well, and the only knock I'll say on Washington right now, the line is -6, so Vegas expects them to beat them by about a touchdown.
mm-hmm,
Washington is +7 in turnovers. I mean, obviously that steered that game last week tremendously. I mean, you
mm-hmm,
can't. I don't know of too many teams who are -5 and won a game. So the Lions, like that was a big part of that game. But I mean, the other part of that, like Washington's not turning the ball over either. Kind of like what we talked about with the
mm-hmm,
Bills and the Chiefs is you don't turn the ball over right now and you execute on offense, like you got a chance to keep advancing. And so I kind of wrote down that Philly run game, then the battle
mm-hmm.
of the quarterbacks, and then turnovers.
Yeah,
And I
that's
think
it.
that applies to every game that we at this time of the year.
And that's the matinee game on Sunday, right? So that's the
Yeah,
big
yeah, that's
game.
the 2:30 game.
That's the 2:30 game. So a
Yeah,
lot of good football that day. A lot of good
yeah, yeah.
football.
Are you
I
going to
do think,
predict that one?
yeah, I think Philadelphia is going to win. I don't
Yeah,
think it'll be explosive. And when I say explosive, I mean in the 30s. I'd be shocked if it is. But I don't
yeah,
think it'll be I think it'll be something like maybe 20, 24 to 20,
yeah,
24-20, something like that.
yeah,
I think Jaden Daniels might throw a pick or something that stops his flow and
yeah,
late in the game, and Philadelphia gets to go to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
And then they'll
yeah,
play whoever that night winner is. But
yeah,
because I just think at home, Philadelphia is tough. It's the third time around. They are
yeah,
division opponents. Knowing division opponents, they know each other so well because they play each other twice. So you got a lot of film on
hmm
each other, so, and you
That,
watch
that that
the
that is
last.
an that is an element that most I think casual fans don't maybe give enough. Is that's why Steelers Ravens games are always so good. That's why Chiefs
Mm-hmm.
Broncos games are good. I mean, you start playing somebody over and over, like they start to feel it. They start to know. Like they get more data. They get more stuff on you. And pro coaches, even the bad ones, are still pretty dang good and can still game
Mm-hmm.
plan and scheme some stuff up. So yeah, like I'm glad that it's these two teams because I think it'll make for a better game.
Yeah, I think it
So
will. So you're saying Kansas City. I'm gonna say Philadelphia. So I'm looking at Kansas City, Philadelphia.
yeah,
If it goes by what your prediction is, do you
yeah.
think Washington got a shot, or what you predicting?
Yeah, no, I said Eagles 23-17, so I think it's going to
Okay,
be
yeah,
a
you
close
did.
game.
Uh huh.
But I just think at the end of the day, like I think their rushing attack is good. I think their defense is going to be good enough. I think they're going to get some pressure. I'm like you. I can't see Jaden Daniels going another game without making a mistake. I mean, he
Mm-hmm.
is again, he is still a rookie. I mean, he's kind of graduated, in my opinion. He's not really a rookie anymore, but he's still prone to mistakes and stuff. But uh, I like the Eagles. I like Barkley. I like their rushing attack. Um, and I think they have the ball 38, 40 minutes and make it really tough on Washington. Like that's when I think you'll see a mistake is they get down 10 points and they're trying to force something. So yeah, I do like Philly, but I am all bought in on Jaden Daniels, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yes, he is.
I like watching him play. He
Yeah.
he's hopefully he keeps it up. I'm just worried about him having it next year like my man down in Houston had this year, because now there's a
Yeah,
lot of tape on him. But I think, when I look at it, he might just be a better quarterback than that kid, though.
yeah,
He might,
yeah, yeah. No, I
you
think too
know,
soon to tell, but yeah, I would
yeah,
agree. I think CJ Stroud's still going to be good. I haven't given up on him.
he's
I
good.
I would take CJ Stroud over a Bo Nix right now, just because I think his
Hmm.
ceiling's higher. But yeah, no, I mean, just a little regression. It happens.
Hmm.
So
All it takes is some DCs around the league to get tape on you, and it makes it
yeah.
tough,
Well, and
because
it
they know
also
what you
takes a
got.
team like, well, this team made the playoffs last year. They're not the crappy Texans from before. Like, they're
Right.
actually good, and
We're
like
paying them
it.
attention.
Yeah, we're human beings. Like we
Hmm.
turn up for different games and we turn
Yeah,
down for different games. Like it just kind of works that way sometimes.
correct. You
So
know, but yeah. So um, basically, that's our take on the AFC Championship and the NFC
mhm.
Championship, and I think it's going to be pretty good games.
Yeah,
But also with this coming, with now that it's the off season for some teams, you got 4 teams left, so everybody's starting their little off season stuff, except for the 4 teams that are still playing. But there's a new, sorry about that. There's a new rule. There's a new rule now where coaches can have contact with other teams, even
hmm
if they're coaching in a game. It's
hmm
a team that's still playing. Where before it used to be, you had to wait till your season was over, and
yeah,
guys were missing out on jobs, because of that.
yeah,
So let me get myself fixed here. So basically, you have a situation where um, Ben Johnson,
hmm
Aaron Glenn, and the reason I'm starting with Detroit because they lost 3 good coaches. They lost their OC to Chicago.
yep,
I knew that was coming though.
yeah, me too.
Uh, Aaron Glenn, I figured he'd get a job, but I didn't know who. And I
Yeah,
forgot that he played for the Jets for 8 years.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I remember
yeah,
him as a Jet.
so that makes
Yeah.
sense. New Orleans
Uh,
wanted him too, but I think he was never even really. They
so
said they wanted him. Yeah, I don't think he was. I
I,
think he was
I
out. He
saw
wanted to go
today
another
that
way.
the hang up is he wanted to pick a new GM, or he wanted a new GM in New
Down in
Orleans,
New Orleans.
and they didn't want to get rid of him. That was what was reported today, which
Oh, okay.
I, I get that. I think the Saints is a terrible job. I think the Jets is much better. The
Hmm.
Saints have to restructure old players just to get under the salary cap. They can't
Yep.
even cut them, because if they cut them, it doesn't do any good. So they're going to extend this terrible cap situation they're in for another. It'll take them 3 years to get out of it. And by then in the pros, you're fired. So Jets is much better. Now, if Aaron Rodgers comes back, I might change my tune. Like, because I think that dude's freaking poison, like for
Well,
for teams right now.
Devontae Adams said he would love to play for Mike Tomlin, but they think that's a
Oh,
way. But now there's a ploy to that,
yeah.
and Aaron Rodgers' names keeps coming up, and no,
Don't do that, man.
no, they say in the building, Gary Dulac guys that are inside the Stiller organization inside the building, and they hear stuff that we
Yeah,
wouldn't hear. Said Pittsburgh has no interest in Aaron Rodgers. You know what I'm saying? So
that's the
that
correct
means
answer.
they have no
Don't
interest.
that is
Right.
I think Aaron Rodgers is a lot of things. Like, I think
Mm-hmm.
he's a weirdo. I think he's narcissistic. I think he's an a-hole. I think he
Yeah.
all those things. He's also a tremendous player who's played that position as well as anybody has in their career. But he's old. He's done.
Right.
He's past
41.
that. And I mean, I think I could see him being slightly better next year, because they always say that first year after Achilles it is tough.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also a year older, and we've
Yeah.
never seen a quarterback above 40, other than the best guy to ever do it, be real
Brady.
successful. Yeah, I mean, that's everyone else. Like, you fall off. I remember watching Warren Moon at age 40 for the Chiefs, and everybody in Kansas City, we want Warren. We want to see play. He was awful.
He
He
was
was
done.
terrible. Yeah, and he's done. And that, like Peyton Manning, we talked about him last time. Like, 40 plus, they're done, and like that's okay. Like,
Well,
go put. Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers right now is a way to get you fired.
Oh
So
yeah,
look at
yeah,
Saleh. Look at Saleh.
yeah,
Saleh's
yeah.
defense
Who,
is
who
really
I think
good.
Saul is tremendous, by the way. Like, I really
Yes.
do.
You know,
So
so that was crazy. So we no, we
yeah,
don't want him. He's gonna get because you'll be in this coaching search too
yeah,
if you bring
yeah, yeah,
Aaron
yeah.
Rodgers
I was
in.
gonna say, old Aaron Glenn, if he sticks around here in about 2 years, he'll be the hot name for DCs, because they'll move on from him. So
Yeah.
I actually, of the three that are hired, this might be my hot take today. I like Aaron Glenn the best out of the three.
Out of the three.
Um, and I think all three are very good too. I don't think there's been a crappy hire until I saw today is that the Raiders are talking about hiring Schottenheimer's son. Okay, that would be my least favorite. And yeah, I don't know. The Raiders are going to Raider,
And then,
but
and they said that one of the leading candidates is the former coach for Seattle. I can't. What's his name?
Pete Carroll, yeah.
Pete Carroll's name is coming up a
Yeah,
lot. He's 71 though, but
yeah. I
um,
like Pete Carroll too. I
yeah,
do. The age worries me, but
yeah. Because how long can he do it? And
yeah,
how does he deal with the locker room now? These kids are getting these players are younger,
it's
and
different, man.
it's
It's
different.
different.
And you got to. It's just different. But and then
That's where I get a lot of respect for Andy Reid and Mike Tomlin because both of those guys, I mean, between the two of them, we're talking 2+ decades each, and like they've adapted quite well. Like I
mm-hmm.
still think players love both those guys. I think you talk to even LaShawn McCoy, who, you know, basically got run out of Kansas City because he couldn't hold on to the football. To this day, will still get on there and talk about his affirmation and love for Andy Reid and how
He
much
likes
he
Andy
loves
Reid,
him.
and he
Yeah,
played for him in Philly.
yeah, and I think and you'll know this better than I do. I would suspect a lot of Steelers feel the same way about Tomlin. Like there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of love and admiration and
Mm-hmm.
respect for him, even after the fact.
There's a couple players, and you can't be perfect, but there's always going to be players that don't like you.
Yeah, sure.
When they leave, they're going to have stuff to say because most of the time it's because they didn't get their way,
Yeah,
or they got released and didn't want to be like Devin Bush. I'm so glad he's gone.
he don't
But,
matter.
yeah. I mean,
He's just a guy.
and he keeps talking, dude. Quit,
Yeah,
you don't play for Pittsburgh no more.
yeah.
Do what you do in Cleveland. You know
I
what I'm
felt that
saying?
way about Steven Nelson. Remember Steven Nelson when he came to
He did the
you?
same thing. He did the same
Okay.
thing.
When he left, so his last couple months with the Chiefs, he changed his Twitter bio to like Nelson Island, and he just started talking like he was Darrell Revis. And I'm just like, man, I think you're good, but and I think the Chiefs, and I could be wrong, I don't have any inside knowledge. I think the Chiefs saw that as a potential cancer and just said, you go ahead, man. And it sounds like he probably did about the same thing. Played for a while, and then towards the end started pointing fingers and blaming. And
Yep,
yeah,
that's what he did in Pittsburgh. And then
yeah,
and they got rid of him. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
there's because stuff comes out eventually.
yeah, yeah,
It may not during the season, but after the season's over, you're going to hear they're going to
yeah,
talk about. They wait on purpose to talk about that stuff. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Because they don't want to
sure,
cause no problems during the season. But
yeah.
but also the defensive line coach, who's one of the best in the business in Detroit, is now the DC in New England. So,
Oh, okay, yeah,
mm-hmm. But he brought back Josh McDaniels. Mike Vrabel did.
yeah.
I wonder if Kraft had anything to do with that.
I think Josh McDaniels is a fine OC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he should get near being a head coach again because
I
that's
think
been a
his
disaster.
personality. I'm wondering about his personality.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I say he's a good OC. Has he really been a great OC without Tom Brady? I don't know. Like, and I think Drake May is going to be fine, but he's not Tom Brady, and
No.
like that freaking matters. Like having
Mm-hmm.
that dude back there. So
Mm-hmm.
it could work. I like Vrabel. I'm a big fan. I actually got to meet Mike Vrabel. So I worked at a bowling alley in doesn't exist anymore, but remember Incredible? If you ever heard of Incredible?
Mm-mm. No.
Okay, so it's like 159th Street down in south part of the town, and he lived down that way. And it was when he was with the Chiefs right at the end of his career because he was his last 2 years he played with the Chiefs,
Mm-mm.
and he came in and when I say meet him, like I like told him like big fan, like he with his family and stuff. I don't believe in going up and trying to start
Being
conversations. He's just trying to
yeah,
live his life, but he's an enormous man.
he's big.
That was my takeaway. Is like I'm not a small dude, but when I'm looking up and I'm like, man, like because he's 6'5", 250, he still works out and stuff. He's in a very imposing presence, and I think that in a way he kind of Dan Campbell's you a little bit because he's a little intimidating.
He's
I
a big
think as
man.
a player and as a opposing coach a little bit too. Like I think there's a little bit of that kind of to his persona. So
Yeah, he I think he's a good hire. I knew he was going to get a
yeah.
job eventually. And then they're talking about. Well, I'm kind of shocked. Pittsburgh didn't make any moves. They need to get a new line coach at least. I thought they would move the DC out, but
Yeah.
That's de facto. He's running Tomlin's defense. That's the excuse I keep hearing. So it wouldn't be right if Tomlin fired him. That means you're just giving him all the blame
Yeah. Well,
because
and
Tom.
I also think, like we talked about it last time, I think there's a lot of injuries and stuff that kind of hurts Steelers, especially defensively. Like TJ Watt going 2 whole games without recording a stat. That's
Mhm.
unheard of. Like he clearly has something wrong. Like he didn't just all of a sudden suck overnight. Like he's one of the top 3 rushers in the NFL. And
Mhm.
so I think there's a little bit more of that too. So if they struggle again next year, I think you definitely need to probably look at making a move. But
Yeah,
I mean, you're only as good as your pieces too.
that's true. That's true. And then
So
other coaching news: Jacksonville. A name came up for Jacksonville. Right now, it eludes me.
maybe he was
Um,
shot. Maybe that was where I saw Schottenheimer's name.
yeah, it
Um,
is because they're another job that's out there that they need a coach. Um, so it's New England hired him. Titans got
um,
the special teams guy from Dallas. Jacksonville's looking for a coach. Detroit lost 2. Chicago got their coach. Jets got their coach. It was 5 teams without coaches. Now
yeah,
there's
yeah.
so
There's 3 with the fourth one. Sounds like it's pretty imminent. Oh, and the Cowboys. Cowboys are the one going to go Schottenheimer. I'm sorry. Yeah, I got my
yeah.
news all mixed up and stuff. But
So Raiders,
um,
the Raiders and Jacksonville are like the fourth and fifth of the
those
5.
would be the last 2. Yeah,
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 they'll be the last 2. It looks like
yeah.
Pete Carroll might end up getting that
I
job.
hope it's Pete Carroll because Steve Spagnuolo was the other name I heard, and
Oh yeah.
boy, that would bring a tear to my eye because if if we're talking about most important people of this kind of run the Chiefs are on, Spags is fourth or fifth on that list. He is that important, I think. But obviously below Andy, below Patrick, below Chris Jones, but you could make a strong case he's the fourth most important person kind of our little run we got here. So I would hate to see that, but I'd love it for him because he seems like a good dude. He seems like he works hard. He seems like he almost didn't get a fair shake because he went to the Rams and Sam Bradford got hurt, and you know
Yeah,
happens.
Spags is due another job. He's doing
Yeah,
he's there. Some of these dudes just keep getting recycled. And they don't even get to sit down. They
yeah.
don't get to sit out. But then you
Man,
get guys like Spagnolia. You won't even give them another chance. You know
the
what I'm saying?
NFL is so bad about that. Is just rinse repeat with so many guys, and I think they're better now than they used to be, but there's still a lot of that where they rather take a guy who's failed than a guy who's never even done it before. And I mean,
You
I don't know.
gotta take chances.
I think Tomlin's a great example of sometimes you got to risk it a little bit
Yeah, you
because
gotta take chances.
nobody knew. I mean, nobody outside of Pittsburgh knew who Mike Tomlin was,
No,
and he's been sitting there for 20 years, and all he does is win games.
right.
I mean, I know that you have a little playoff drought, but I tell you, it can get worse. Trust me. Like,
Oh yeah,
don't move on from him. Like, things can go bad
real
quickly,
quick, real quick,
real quick.
real quick.
So,
So, but let's talk about the mock draft.
okay,
Okay, we'll do coaches. We'll just keep doing that because I think it's going. It's nowhere near over. I think it's just
I
getting
agree.
started.
I agree.
It's just getting started. But mock draft. So the other day we talked about it. Me and you discussed it before we decided to talk about it. And I pulled something from CBS Sports.
Hmm.
There's many out there, but I just
Yeah,
chose this one from.
it's
It's
really early too. Like, it's
yes,
important to
it's
kind of note.
early. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I chose this one, and what I got first, and I know we're dealing with time, but Cameron Ward, and
Yeah.
I, and I'll just read off what I'll keep real quick summary. They said he's an experienced college football quarterback, possessing a lot of physical traits NFL teams look for in a starter. His
Hmm.
his career has been defined by its volatility into this season. So I guess prior to where he was at before, it didn't go as well as it this year. You
Yeah.
know, he's basically displays good pocket mobility and throws with touch, anticipation at all 3 levels. And I'll stop there. But they got him going 1.
Hmm.
Um, this is what CBS is saying. They're saying 1, and then
Well, and there's several guys all saying that too. So I think it's kind of the consensus right now is kind of what they're all feeling at the moment.
mm-hmm, you know,
So
and then they says he has some weaknesses, ball security, and that's
yeah,
big. We know that in the NFL, that's big.
yeah, for sure.
Because you're gonna get hit.
Yeah, yeah.
They're gonna try. They automatically try
Hey,
to strip you automatically.
ask Lamar Jackson how important it is. I mean, lost
Yeah.
him a dang game.
hmm
So
It's big. And then Shador Sanders, Colorado, number two,
yeah,
so going to Cleveland. That's what they
yeah,
got here. CBS predicts he'll go to Cleveland, and
yeah,
I don't think I got to read the summary on him too much. We know that's Dion's
yeah,
son.
yeah,
Um, he's been really good since they've been following him since Pop Warner. That's crazy.
yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he in high school he balled out, and then because he had the one brother that went to South Carolina,
Hmm.
then he had the other brother that went with him to Jackson State, and
Hmm.
then in Colorado. So, I mean, I don't know. It's iffy with these quarterbacks, man. I see so many good quarterbacks in college that come out and they're busting the NFL.
Hmm.
You know, like everybody was talking about Anthony Richards, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, I don't know. And then you look at our guy that we sent to Philly, Pickett. Um, look at him. Look at Trubisky when he was number one and the Bears took him number one. So it's just like that position is really weird. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying?
Yep.
It doesn't matter what you did at the collegiate level. And I know
No.
there's stuff that scouts look at, and I get it that yeah, he should be able to make that transition, but it doesn't always prove to be true. You know,
Yeah.
but I hope it works out for him. But they got him going to Cleveland. I don't know if that's a good idea.
I think Cleveland is a barren wasteland
Yeah.
until proven otherwise. I think Cleveland screwed up when they got rid of Baker. I think Baker was plenty serviceable, and they're getting exactly what they deserve when they make a stupid choice like Deshaun Watson and give him all that money. So that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
That's kind of my mood in life right now is you get what you deserve, and you're going to make a stupid contract like that. You deserve that, and it's hard with Shader, and I don't know how good he is. I'm
Yeah.
kind of like you. Like I think at times he makes some really good throws, but I also like it's hard to separate him from all the noise that is kind of Dion in Colorado. And I'm not saying good or bad. I think Dion's done a heck of a job making a
Mhm.
brand, for sure. And I mean he's getting kids, but yeah, I don't know if that's going to translate to the pros. It very well could, but I mean, they had virtually no running game in Colorado. So does he even know how to go under center and bootleg? Does he
I
even
never
know
seen
how
it.
to, you know what I mean? Like there's things like that you have to do at the pro game. Like every offense at the pro game does that, and that's the part that I guess I'll be most interested because. The other thing, we just had a pretty good rookie draft class of
hmm
quarterbacks. I mean, you
hmm
think about all the guys that played quarterback as rookies this year. I mean, Caleb Williams, he gets crapped on a lot, but he didn't have a terrible season. I mean, their
No,
team's not good, but for a rookie, or Peyton Manning, he went 1-15 or 2-14 and threw almost 30 picks his rookie year. I mean, he was in the 20s. Like it's hard. It's hard
I
being a
remember that.
rookie, and
Yeah. I
so
mean, mechanics. It's just the speed of the game. You know what I'm saying? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's whereas you could see stuff coming in college, you're not going to see it coming in the NFL.
Very
You
much
know,
so. Very much
so
so. Well, the difference between the best player and the worst player on the field in the NFL is absurdly low compared to college and even and on down. So your
hmm
best player in college and your worst player, there's a sizable gap in most games. The pros, it's just not there.
no,
You just don't fall off cliffs like that.
nope.
So
The windows are smaller, and
yep, yep,
so you think he's not open because in college that he was like 5 yards away from the defender. Now he's maybe a yard or two, and he's open.
yeah, yeah,
And you got to get it in there. You know,
yeah,
you can't be scared
yeah.
to throw it, man. You got to go. And
Hmm.
he hasn't had to, not a lot of rookie quarterbacks haven't had to do that. Burrows did it,
Yeah,
but he was different. He was different.
yeah. No, I was gonna say Burrow's good. The
Yeah.
Bengals are going to be fine, as much as that pains me because I don't like the Bengals. But I just don't like I don't like Jamar Chase, if I'm being honest with you. I
hmm
don't like just how he is. It's like he sounds like a child throwing a tantrum a lot of
Oh
times.
yeah, especially
And
when they lose. I seen that.
dude, you're a really good player. Just be a really good player. Like
Yeah,
you don't
he
have to.
pouts.
Yes, like
He pouts all the time. I know.
well, just like uh, who's the best? Like he had a comment where he's like, "I'm not going to say his name," talking about Mahomes, and it's like it's okay to admit that he's a really good player. It does not mean your guy's no good. It does not mean that your guy can't be like. It doesn't mean it's acknowledging a fact and acknowledge. And I think he's a little immature right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
But they're gonna pay him. They're
yes,
gonna
they
keep him.
are.
They're gonna keep
Yes,
him.
they are.
Uh, Calvin Banks. I never heard of this kid. And I watched a lot of Texas football, but he's an offensive tackle. That makes sense because offensive tackles don't get all the love. You don't hear about them because they don't.
Yeah,
As long as
right.
as long as they ain't making mistakes, you ain't gonna hear about them.
They're hard to kind of scout because yeah, what you just said, and you don't know the quality of the pass rusher across from them. Most of the time, I mean, how many good quality pass rushers are there in the college game? There's just not that very many, not very many of them. So
No, and he's so they got him going to New England fourth. No,
yeah,
I skipped, but I messed up because I skipped to him. And third was, and we won't go back, but third is Travis Hunter. They got him listed as an
yeah,
athlete to the
yeah.
Giants. To the Giants. They think he's going to go both ways. That's the talk right now.
I
That's hard to do.
I think he's going to be a primarily play one way and then occasionally hop over for a play or two or a package or two. That's I mean, I could be dead wrong, but I'm kind of with you. Like they just get better at the next level. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he's an elite corner. He's an elite athlete. He might be an elite receiver. I'm not sure you can be elite at both just because
Not at that level.
it's hard. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard. So,
It's hard.
but
Even Primetime didn't do it full time. You
well, do
know,
you remember? I'll give you another name that's a little bit less known. Remember Chris Gamble
who did he
played
play
for
for?
Ohio State around 2000, and then went and played for the Panthers for a
Yes,
while.
it does ring
Okay,
a bell.
he was never coming off the field for Ohio State, and they kind of did that with him a little bit. He was always a DB, always a corner, but he didn't. He really the pros just became a corner with some packages on offense. He didn't do both like that. So that's kind of the. I think he's. I think Travis Hunter is kind of a cross between Prime and Chris Gamble because I think Chris Gamble wasn't quite as explosive. But
Mm-hmm.
I kind of see a similar career where they kind of sprinkle him over there, but primarily plays on the defensive side.
It's
Because,
just it's hate to see him go to New York though, man. Wow.
well, they'll
Because
find a way to screw him up, though. You watch. I mean,
he, yeah, he won't. They'll find a way not to offer him the fifth year option, and he'll go somewhere else.
yeah, right,
You
right.
know. And then we're going to go back to five. Mason Graham, defensive lineman out of Michigan. Have seen him play. He's good.
Yeah,
He's powerful. He's strong. Um, and Michigan usually they got him going to Jacksonville fifth.
yeah,
Jacksonville. It's a tough situation, but when you don't win, you get players like that. You
yeah.
know, I remember what was his name? Chase played for DC. Then he went to Niners
Oh,
last year.
Chase Young.
Chase Young.
Yeah.
They were playing the Steelers his rookie season, and Tomlin had a live mic on, and it's like a highlight, some type of highlight they did on the Steelers, and it showed him talking to Chase Young on the sideline after the game was over, and
Hmm.
Mike said, "Yo, you a hell of a player," you know. He said, "Too bad I'll never get a guy like you because I ain't willing to lose that many games."
It's true. No, man, that's
You know,
the Chiefs battle that a little bit with why we don't have a good left tackle because left tackles, defensive ends, elite corners, those guys get picked in the first 10, 15 picks. And kind of like the Steelers, like we don't pick up that way very often, at least recently. And I know
right?
Steelers even longer since they've done that. So then he's got to start packaging picks, and then that's just bad for business when you start doing that.
Because you
So
start losing what
uh,
you need.
right. So you kind of got to find diamonds in the rough, or I mean, like if you start go look at NFL rosters and look at the best pass rushers, the best pass protectors, and the elite corners, you're not going to find a lot of second and third round picks. They're almost always in the first 10,
Mm-hmm.
10 or 15, I should say. So
And
I'm gonna
that's
give
why.
you one more name before we jump off here.
Okay.
I saw him in the national title game, and he is a Penn State guy. So, little throw to your home.
Okay.
The Abdul Carter, the defensive end for and the only reason I bring him up, he's the one that he was up on the line of scrimmage and dropped back and had that interception about 9.5 yards on like an out route by the
Mm-hmm.
receiver. It was one of the most athletic plays I've ever seen a college guy make. Like he's lined up rushing the passer, and he drops back and gets outside the numbers. I mean, granted, they're on the hash, but still outside the numbers at 8.5, 9 yards, and just jumps up and just snatches it like a receiver. And my immediate thought was like, well, that's going to play on Sunday
Right.
because
Correct.
that I mean, obviously, I don't think he's going to do that kind of stuff. But if you're that good of an athlete, I bet they can make you a pretty good pass rusher. So,
Yeah, probably so. So I think that just to summarize this draft real quick, I know we messing with time. I probably going, I'll probably do something once you get off the air. But as far as there's a lot of players, but the quarterbacks are, I don't know. That's a situation where I don't know. They're probably going to go with free agents because they said the draft, like you got Milrow.
that's what I was going to bring it for the Steelers is Milrow. I watched a lot of Alabama football because they're always on TV, and I kind of like watching them play. I don't know, man. Milrow kind of screams. He screams Cordell Stewart to me to give you a throwback there.
Just bigger.
Just a bigger run first, throw sometimes. Not really sure where it's going when you do throw. He's not the one I would mortgage my future for. I think the Steelers are a marquee enough name this year, especially. I think you got to hope somebody falls. Maybe that the Vikings move on from McCarthy. Maybe Darnold, one of those two, because they're not going to keep them both. Maybe something like that happen. Maybe the Bucks decide they want to go young and move on from Baker. That's kind of, I think, the sweet spot for the Steelers right now is finding that veteran retribution or a rookie that was given up on a little too soon and kind of go that route. I don't think because to get Milrow, you're going to have to move up probably 8 to 10 spots, I would imagine.
Yeah, the report is that Pittsburgh is enamored with him. The scouting department's enamored with him. They think he's a first-round talent. I'm not spending a first-round pick on him.
Nah.
I'm not doing it.
Well, it would cost you a first and a third or something to move up too. And they're thinking he'll be here. He'll be there at 21. I can't see it. The way quarterbacks go, I can't see it either. But
especially in this draft because there's not many. But the talk is real quick, and I'm gonna let you go. As far as the quarterback situation with the free agency since this week, just to give you some insight, give the Steeler Nation Midwest some insight. From what I'm hearing, Pittsburgh is already in negotiations. McAfee, Russell Wilson was on McAfee's show yesterday, and he said they had started talking about contract negotiations. But he said it could have went either way. Another guy said it could have went either way. It could have been just saying, hey, Russell's agent reached out and said, yeah, we want to stay in Pittsburgh. And they're like, okay, we'll talk. It could have been that. And he said, if they're doing that, they're going to probably do the same thing with Justin. And the only thing that worries me, because I'm going to look for it now because I'm paying attention, whoever Pittsburgh does not sign first, whether it's Russell or Justin, that's who's going to leave.
Yeah.
So,
I would agree.
So if you don't show enough love to Justin initially and you offer Russell a contract first, he's going to go shop, and he's going to get a job.
And he should. That's what he should do.
He's going to, but I'd say keep him.
Yeah.
Because the bridge, there's nothing there this year. They say 2026 will get a lot better. They said there's some good quarterbacks coming out in that draft, 2026 draft. Which, by the way,
that's the Arch Manning draft is what that'll be. Yeah.
Especially, and then it's in Pittsburgh, so I'll be there front seat row.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. It was cool going to Kansas City when they had it. Yeah.
I'll be there. But I wouldn't spend that on him. I would not. And there's a lot of guys. Some guy like Amika,
yeah. He was on my list too. Yeah, I like him too.
Trayon Henderson, the running back.
Yeah.
Aaron Watts, the DB out of Notre Dame.
Man,
there's some guys in the draft. It just depends on who. It's based on needs after the first 10. So, so Gente, they got Gente going really early. I forget who. Let me see. He's not even on here.
Yeah, I don't. I like. Obviously, I haven't focused a ton on the draft just yet because my team's still playing. But I think the running back for Boise State's exceptional, and I think he's going to be a very, very good pro because I don't think his O line was great. Granted, the talent he saw, but he showed enough in that game that against Penn State. Like he showed enough in that game where like, all right, you can play. Like you're making guys miss. You're making in a phone booth space. Like and you're breaking tackles and you're powerful and you're fat. Yeah, you're going to be just fine. So
Saquon Barkley type.
yeah, I think that's a decent comp. I mean,
Hmm.
I think that's kind of not fair to Saquon because he just had 2,000 yards. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's definitely like the type of runner he is.
Hmm.
So he's not Derrick Henry just going to punish you and run you over. But he's fast enough where he can do that, but he can also make you miss too. Like he's kind of the little bit of both worlds a little bit. So
Okay. So hey, uh, thank you for joining me, Ryan.
yeah, man.
Um, we're going to do this again. We're going to do it a
Yeah,
lot. We'll finish up. We'll come back next week and we'll talk about the AFC Championship,
yeah,
the NFC Championship games that have been played, and we'll talk about the Super Bowl.
yeah.
And then we'll hopefully there'll be more coaching information, and mostly more than likely there will be.
It's
And
the NFL, man. We'll have all kinds of stuff to talk about, I'm
yeah,
sure.
and the draft will
Yeah,
keep going.
yeah.
The mock drafts will keep. Everybody will come out with their own mock draft.
Yeah. That's what I'm kind of looking for is the Senior Bowl's going on right now.
Hmm.
You got the Combine coming up. That's when I feel like mock drafts get real good around
Yep.
March-ish. Like that's when we
Hmm.
start getting some real good intel, I think.
So,
So
we'll come back to that. We'll do it
yeah,
again.
right now
You
it's I feel
know,
like we're just getting dart throws. Like I feel like
yeah, yeah. It's hard to say. This list ain't gonna be sticking. Because you never know. You get a guy. But hey, got you. Take it easy, man. Yep. So hey, I had Ryan Heffley on here today, and like I said, he'll be joining me more often. Um, I think it'll be a good tandem. Yeah, I look forward to working with him. Still in Nation Midwest. I want to talk to you about some sponsors real quick. So I've mentioned them on several of my podcasts in the past, and I'm gonna continue to do it. Um, DJ Foots, local DJ from Kansas City. If any information that you need for receptions, uh, party events, whatever it may be, party on the runs, contact him on his Facebook business page, DJ Foots, capital letters D, capital J, Foots, all capital letters, DJ Foots, um, and give him a call and shout out to see if you need any information on what his pricing and stuff is. He'll let you know. Just look on his business page and you can give him a contact, give him a call through Messenger, or also reach him through his Yahoo email, which is also on the business page. The other sponsor, local Kansas City guy with a company called Young Blades Fades at All Natural LLC. Basically, he's my barber. Tez the Dreadlock Barber. He works out of Jazzy's Cut Barbershop in Grandview, Missouri on Blue Ridge Boulevard, in the same lot as several other businesses that people may be familiar with across from Truman Corner. So it's basically, he's a great barber, man. He does a lot. And so go see him. He has dreadlocks, Tez the Dreadlock Barber. He's in the back of the shop. As soon as you walk in, you look straight back. He's to your right. Um, and you'll see him. Tell him Big J sent you from the Stiller Nation Midwest podcast. He'll hook you up. Um, Again, then Compass Timepieces, Los Angeles-based watch company, high-end watch company. And when I say high-end, I'm talking watches that cost $2, $3, $4, $5,000. We're talking watches that were the mechanisms and were manufactured in Switzerland. The is the Rolls Royce of watches. That's where they make them at, and then they'll help you out. So he was my guy was David Carrington, the founder and creator of Compass Timepieces, is dealing with people from Switzerland. He crafted the watch as far as the look of it and things of that nature, and he's doing pretty good. Just had his 4-year anniversary. He has many ads on Instagram. I post a lot of his information too. You can go to his Instagram page, Compass Timepieces or Compass Time. Also, either one will get you there, and you can take a look at his watches. And it's like I said, high end, uh, very good watch, tremendous watch. And it's making its bones to be up there with all the other high end watches that we know of. So give him a shout out. Then I have a young lady by the name of Jackie Carrington. Jackie Carrington owns her own company. She's been an entrepreneur for years. Sorry about that, entrepreneur for years. And she has a company that she's been running for several years now, and it's doing big business. It's called People of Color Beauty. Okay, and she created a brand of nail polish. It's vegan based, no toxic chemicals and things like that to get in your beds, and the colors are just perfect, and they go with people of color. And when I say people of color, it's African Americans, people with dark skin complexions. It doesn't matter. The nail polish works and it fits. I asked my wife about it. She said, "Yeah, it's a tremendous product." So um, everything's based in Los Angeles, but you can get her product on Amazon. She has it on there. Just go to People of Color Beauty, and it'll pop up, and you can order whatever you need. And also, she's also trying to get her product here in the Kansas City area. It's already saturated in the Southwest and the Los Angeles area in California. So, but we're going to help her out here. She's helping me, so I'm going to continue to help her. So, yes, that's the end of the podcast today. We had fun just talking about it. The AFC Championship, a little bit of coaching moves, and also the mock draft. And like me and him talked about at the end, we'll come back and we'll basically have a situation where we talk more about everything. The draft, as the draft gets closer, like we talked about the two All-Star games, the Shriner Bowl and the Reese Cup Senior Bowl. A lot of information changes. You see players that nobody's talking about down there. They play well, and scouting departments start watching them. And then there's not that many head coaches to go down there. Tomlin's one of the ones that go down Mobile, Alabama. Usually him and the GM. They go down there and they look at talent together. They say Tomlin's like a mainstay. He's one of those coaches that gets on the field and challenges players to go against in one-on-ones like DBs against certain receivers and things of that nature, because he wants to see you in action. He just don't want to hear about you. He wants to see you in action, you know. So we'll get more information on that. But enjoy the games this weekend, man. Sunday, if you're a football fan. Just watch. If you're not a Chiefs fan, if you're not a Bills fan, Eagles or DC fan, a lot of people are rooting for the Commanders because they're the underdog, they're the four, you know. So, and then the Chiefs are getting a lot of hate because people are tired of seeing them win in other places. But then there's a lot of people that love the Chiefs, you know. I do respect the Chiefs, but I'm a diehard Steelers fan. I respect them, and I get it. They're doing their thing. And Mahomes is a great quarterback, and Andy Reid's a tremendous coach. So I got to give respect where it's due, and I will do that. But until next time, Steeler Nation Midwest, it's Big J, and I'm signing off. Appreciate you.